All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live edition of Elevate Your Grind. We're here in person. We have not done one of these for a while. I don't even know when the last live podcast was. It must have been with Michaela when we did it live from the Spring Big office, and that was April, May, almost a year ago. So we're live and in person here at Kush Rewards. I am joined by the founder and CEO, and we're going to get into his story. He's a recently new member of C-Lab. Excited to have him, excited to learn more about the company. I know you guys aren't in market yet, but we're really excited to hear about the launch and all the plans you have coming up. So give us a little bit of an introduction to Kush Rewards and the platform and what, just a quick bit on what led you to join the cannabis space.
Sure. My name is Angelo Anzalone. About 4 years ago, started development on the Kush Rewards platform. I guess my background has always been, I'm a huge advocate. And about 10 years ago, I had a fireworks accident and lost my eye and a whole bunch of damage and a bunch of surgeries. I didn't want to do the pain pills. And so the cannabis has been a tremendous help for me. In terms of pain, in terms of helping me sleep. And so huge advocate I've always been, but it just kind of spiced it up even more and made it where it's like, okay, this is a real deal. This isn't just about fun. This actually works. And so I live where we live here. We're in Boynton Beach, Florida, and between where I live and where I work, I pass 5 different dispensaries.
There are a few in East Point.
And depending on which direction I go, there's even more. And I'm, I guess it started with just, me shopping at one location. I don't shop at any particular one because at this point now I've come to be familiar with all of them.
So, I mean, I've noticed that about the Florida market too, right? Like, and we talked a little bit about it beforehand. By the way, I didn't tell you this show's notorious for going off on tangents based on shit that you're saying. So, no, but yeah, the Florida market's an interesting one because I don't feel like there is any brand loyalty. It's like, I've said this 100 times, you figure out there's a few good things at each shop that you like, and you just stay on those, and whatever shop is convenient and on its, convenient to you, you're going to stop at. So, I mean, like, I know right here, you have right down the street, you have your business, so we can tell the location. It's not like we're doing this from your living room. You have one plant, you have moved right down the street a little bit further. There's a Trulieve. I mean, you have almost every single selection here. And now you even have Green Dragon as well, too.
Yeah. I'm not sure they opened yet, but I think they're going to soon.
I've pulled off the road like 4 or 5 times to check to see if they're open, and it hasn't been yet. Right. So I actually realized I might actually have to do that on the way home.
But no, you're right. I mean, I stop at one plant because they have the pre-rolls that I really like. I stop at Sunnyside. Sunnyside. Sorry, guys.
They have one plant flower though, so it's still okay, right?
Move for their cartridges. I love that. Even Grow Healthy for their flower. They got really good. They got this. Was it 99 Problem strain? That's
I'm a big fan of the 99 Problem strain. I like the flower too. Strain. I've been spoiled though, so, I mean, obviously, since starting Heisman, I've gone out to California a lot. So for me, it's so much better out there.
Is it?
It is. It's so I tell this story 100 times. So like, if people who follow the show, if they watch more than one episode, they'll be sick of it. But like, I equate California cannabis to New York pizza, right? Like, we can find some good pizza down here. Like, I'm sure you have a spot that you go to and you're like, oh yeah, it's good. And what do? You equate it. It's like, it's the closest thing to New York you can find here.
Okay.
But then you go to the city, and like, chances are, 7 times out of 10, you walk into any pizza spot, it's going to be amazing. Right. It's everywhere. So like, is there some weed down here that's as good as California? Yeah, there are a few strains. Everybody has their products, but it's everywhere.
It is. And probably tastier and less corporate.
I
think so. It makes it, where it's a lot more unique. In that, I mean, I've gone there and see, I go back to the testing on this, right? Mm-hmm. Because here in Florida, you walk into a store and you can get something that's 25. Mm-hmm. And I used to have a hemp farm that I owned. And so I have the testing equipment, portable testing equipment. And California bud, it's on and not everywhere, of course, but what I found, most of the bud that I've tested in California that comes from California is not the same THC percentage that's on the label. A lot closer here in Florida.
Yeah. A lot of people say that there are some strains that are testing over 40%. They're like, that's fucking physically impossible. Right. Like, it just, for the structure of the plant.
Right.
So yeah, there's some bullshit going on there. But for some reason, I mean, even some of the outdoor flower I've had in California, it's just, it's good. And what blows my mind is, from what I understand, I'm probably going to get crucified for saying this, but I feel like the California weed culture is almost ruining it for the rest of the country because everybody's chasing those California strains.
It does set a high standard,
but they're chasing strains that grow well in California or the Pacific Northwest, and now bringing that into a swamp down here in Florida, and think just because it's indoors that it's going to grow the same as it does in California. And I just think that's physically impossible.
Agreed.
So
it's like the pizza, it's like the water in the pizza, right?
Exactly. So I think, I know we've deterred a lot from technology and development platforms, but
I think that's ultimately why this was developed, because I love going to different dispensaries. I don't have a favorite. I have a favorite type of product at each one. And now I'm sitting here with 4 or 5 different reward programs going into these stores. And I'll go, it's not like I go that frequently where they add up, but I go collectively, enough consistently to where I'm saying, I'm like, hey, this is crazy. How great would it be if I could just make money or earn reward points everywhere that I shop and then redeem them? I mean, I kind of get that with the iPay, Apple Pay, and there's different ways that, to me, then it was like, okay, this is, this could be something here. If we can sort of get a collective, I'm thinking of Uber, right? Where initially when Uber came out, all the restaurants, you're out of your mind.
I'm not paying.
I'm not doing that. You're right. So it took a minute, but then now it's like, think about it. Like, in most restaurants that some restaurants accounts for 40% of their business.
I can absolutely see that being beneficial here, right? Because there's no brands in Florida yet, as much as anybody wants to argue that there are. Like, sorry, Backpack Boys is the Flowery, Connected is Trulieve, Binsk is Trulieve. That's just how it is, right?
Well, you got to be the vertically integrated.
And again, I'm probably going to get persecuted by my peers in the industry because we're also a brand, but I just know how the Florida market is. So for someone in Florida, like, your brands are your verticals. They're the dispensaries that you're going to. So it definitely is super beneficial in any of the vertical markets, because that's a way that you get to try a variety of product and still benefit across the board. Exactly. Like, when I go to California, I can find most of the products I want in 1, 2, maybe 3 stores. Right. Here, to try everything, you got to go to 20 stores. Yes. So exactly. I can definitely see why. I mean, if you lived in another state, I don't know if you would have gotten the idea.
Probably right. I mean, that certainly did it because of that, right? They can't bring brands in here. Like you just said. I mean, that's been the problem with Florida. The vertically integrated regulations make it that you can't just bring any brand in here that you want. It's got to be, from seed to sale. So that you're probably right. That is probably what got the idea flowing is that situation, which created, this opportunity. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's not a bad idea, but then how do we get this to flourish? How do we get this to kind of go viral, or at least be accepted? I've gone into dispensaries for years. I see that Can Pay sign, and quite honestly, I know what it is. I never really took the opportunity to do it because there's no incentive. I got to go through and it's not a bad thing. I'm not bashing that at all. But I've been for years going to dispensaries, and I never took the time to do that. For me, there's no incentive. So what's going to incentivize this? So we made it as if it's a Kush Rewards membership, right? So consumers are paying. Can I talk about numbers? Is that okay?
You can talk about whatever you want.
Cool. I don't want to.
There's no network. There's no one telling us what we can do. So I don't even know if the camera's recording. We just might be sitting here talking.
That's also just shooting to say. Yeah, that's cool.
I had Rob shut down the show like a year ago. I just show up and talk to people and make them think I'm recording it.
Submit this and hope that they pick it up.
Yeah. But no, tell us all about it. It's on numbers, everything. I'm interested because, in the most scenarios, you walk into a dispensary and they have whatever their loyalty program is, and they set the terms of it completely. And, there's no secret. There are a few platforms that are used, but the loyalty programs are individual. And like, I'll say this, and again, I probably shouldn't be talking shit that much, but like, I hate GTI's loyalty program. I hate it because you can only use enough to get 1 free eighth at a time. Right. Well, like I was shopping at GTI throughout the pandemic, ordering from them left and right, the delivery. After the delivery ban shut down, I started doing pickup and everything else. And I amassed a ton, like I had enough for an ounce, maybe. And I'm not saying that they needed to let me walk out the door with an ounce for free, but holy shit, like I couldn't even get more than 1 free eighth at a time. And first it was per transaction, like, cool. So break up the transactions. And then they started getting smart about it. And they said once per day. I'm like, you guys
can maybe come back 4 times.
Well, I told them, like, do you guys understand? I'm like, I live in Delray Beach. The closest rise to me is in fucking Deerfield. Like, this is a trek. This is bullshit. When I can walk into Sunnyside, or when it was One Plan at the time, and no matter how many points I had, they let me use them. Like, what's the difference if I use them on Tuesday, if I come back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Like, you're still giving me the same amount of fucking product for free.
Right.
So
It doesn't
you're just
anything.
pissing me the fuck off.
Exactly.
So I'm very interested to hear how your platform works, because it seems like it would also solve some of those problems as well too.
So the one thing that I would say that really separates us is obviously the centralized rewards program, right? No one's doing that in terms of being able to shop at multiple locations, accumulate your reward points, and then redeem them at any of those locations. So I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing is the incentive to the consumer, right? This is, I would say, one of the first reward programs that is consumer focused.
Okay.
In terms of, so the consumer for a $10 sign up and $5 a month earns 20% reward points at all of the locations that are
so 20% of whatever they spend.
20% of whatever they spend is in reward points.
Okay.
Right now they can accumulate those anywhere they shop, and they can redeem that. The beauty of what we're doing and why we think this is going to go viral is the two-tiered payout system that we've attached to the memberships, which is very simple. Of the $10 sign up, we're not keeping that. That goes down 2 tiers. So in other words, if I sign you up, you pay $10, you pay $5 a month. Of that $10, I get 5. Whoever signed me up gets 5. Of that $5 a month, I get 50 cents a month. Whoever signed me up gets 50 cents a month. And that two-tier payout continues for everyone that somebody can sign up, or somebody does have friends, family, whatever the case may be. The other part of the payout is reward points. If I sign you up, I'm getting 13.33% reward points off of all of your purchases. So the idea, of course, is that this thing goes viral. Consumers see they can invite their friends and family, sign them up. They can make money off of their membership. They can make reward points off of their products as well. Huge for dispensaries as well, right? If the dispensary signs up, people that are coming into the store, then it just creates obviously more traffic. They can sign those people up. They get that $5 per sign up. They get that 50 cents a month residual. They get money. And this is the best part for a dispensary. Now, kind of shifting gears, for a dispensary who offers Kush Rewards, everyone that they sign up, that consumer comes back to your store, you're making another 10%. So you're making 85% on that purchase.
Wow.
You're making 10% of that consumer's purchase wherever they shop as well, because you sign that consumer up. So if I travel to Vegas and I go to one dispensary there and they sign me up, and then I come back to Florida and I shop around, that dispensary is always going to be making money off of my product purchases, off of my monthly memberships, and off of the signups of the people that I sign up.
Very interesting.
So the incentive is on both sides, right? The consumer is incentivized because they get the reward points, they get the freedom to shop and redeem their points anywhere. Plus they get the revenue from inviting other people to be a member of Kush Rewards. Same with the dispensaries. Dispensaries now are going to get more traffic. We have a huge marketing budget that anytime a dispensary signs up, anytime they open up a new store, we give them a certain amount of time to try to sign up as many consumers as possible. And then we follow behind that with a huge marketing campaign, 10-mile radius of every store, direct mail, email, SMS, smoke signals, whatever the hell we have to do to drive traffic to those stores.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to say the first part is it's how impressive you did that while I was trying to fix your microphone is really the first part.
It would suck if we missed that all, right? That would.
I mean, it was recording, but yeah, no, people don't realize I only usually have one microphone. It's myself. So I leave it set up and it's kind of done. So like, I was looking down, I'm like, oh, I don't think we're getting his levels that well. Let me figure out how to fix this. And I don't really know how to work AV as much as everyone thinks I do. I just kind of plug things in. But going back to that, man, I mean, so it sounds like an amazing concept. I'm curious, like what you just described is a little bit complicated to figure out. Like, how long did it take you away? Because right now everybody has their own loyalty system and they're trying to kind of keep it as their own ecosystem, and that's who they market to, and that's their audience, and they're very, very protective of it, right? Sure. Extremely protective of it. You're creating more of an ecosystem here than just these little bubbles that are all over the place. I feel like, how long did it take you to come up with the reward system that you just said? Like, was that a lot of trial and error where you're like, they may not like this, or we talk to people here? Like,
because it was more regulations, just trying to figure out, what we can and can't do in certain states, going through the cannabis regulations. That was kind of the big thing. I mean, it was a gradual piece. I remember one day getting a mailer from Visa. It was a cash back mailer, where you use the card, you get cash back on all your purchases. I'm going, hey, maybe there's something here. There's, if you can do cash back on purchases like that, maybe we can kind of figure something out. And then it just slowly progressed. And during that last 4 years, it's been a process of not only developing the system, but putting together the relationships.
I see that. I see how it has like that cash back
because there's a program manager that with the banking behind it. We're part of the Safe Harbor banking system. So that, we're going through all of the banking regulations as well, because there is a merchant component to this, right? In terms of running the transactions, and directing the
so talking about the full experience, right? So I go in and I have a Kush Rewards app, and if I'm going to redeem my points, is it a cash points blend? Am I loading cash onto the app? How is that working?
So the app itself is an e-wallet, right, with a dashboard.
Okay.
So when you sign up, you go in, you sign up. If I'm a dispensary, I'll sign you up. You are now sort of part of under my membership. Once then you get a link, you activate, you're going to confirm your email, validate the email. You're going to create the account. You're going to fund the account with your bank, with your debit card. And then within there, you'll see the dashboard that has not only the balance of your e-wallet, but the points balance as well. And those funds, by the way, are held in an insured account. We don't control those accounts. That's a custodial account that those funds are held in. And you walk into a store, you make a purchase. Depending on their POS system, it would either be a standalone or it would be integrated within the store's POS system. I know we are integrated with FlowHub as well, so that if they use FlowHub, it's an easy integration.
Very cool.
And then depending on the integration, it's just a matter of how do you want to pay for this? You want to use your reward points or straight from the e-wallet.
That's really interesting because at the end
that transaction happens and everything back settles.
Because you don't necessarily directly compete with the store's own reward system at this point. Like it can be complementary, which is really interesting because you got, again, the way that you talk about it, you guys are almost like that Visa cashback rewards debit card for the cannabis industry. You just happen to be an app instead of a piece of plastic.
It's another cashless payment option.
You're the Amex.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we say to dispensaries, right? We're not competing with your existing
Weedex
program. Side by side, if you took American Express, you'd also take Visa, MasterCard, just another payment option.
Or you'd have your own reward system on top of that where someone can use American Express points, but at 20% of whatever it is, right?
I mean, and it doesn't have to be used on every purchase. I'm still going to go to Sunnyside and get their 8 for 80 on the pre-rolled and, and not expect the reward points because it's a special. I get that. But that's my option. I want that. Sometimes I want to, participate in that. Sometimes I want to accumulate my reward points.
Very cool. What other components are there to the app? Is there a market? So how could, how do cannabis companies take advantage of your network and stand out and drive traffic to their stores independently? Is there a way to do it? Is there advertising on it? Are there push notifications? Can brands take advantage of it?
We also have Kush Rewards Pro, which is a marketing tool. It's basically like a CRM that either dispensaries or anyone for that matter can use as a CRM to build it as a business. So literally you walk in, all the advertising is there, all the components are there to be able to go ahead and just start marketing for your own.
Very cool. What did you do before this?
I have a prepaid legal plan.
Okay.
My background has always been in the debt settlement space. Helping consumers with credit card debt.
Okay.
And so
so the credit card programs pretty well.
I know the credit card programs well. I know the banks. I know how they work. And yeah, so that was sort of definitely a helping part of getting this together.
It's very interesting to think, again, going into that line of work and doing it, and I don't know how long you did it for. You ever think you'd be able to integrate your passion for cannabis into that type of business? Like,
I've been in sales my whole life, and early on in sales, it took me a little while to figure out that I didn't want to be the sales guy that was at zero at the first of the month, and that building a business with residuals or a member base is a lot easier and a lot more profitable and a lot less stressful. So my mentality was a membership based type program like I have with the prepaid legal plans. So that structure definitely played a role in formulating this, because now it's the membership, right? For our model, obviously, is, and again, completely transparent. Our business model, where we make our money, is the $4 a month.
This is the membership.
So that $10 sign up fee goes down two ways. And then there's $5 a month. $1 of that gets split two ways, and then there's $4 left, and that's our model.
And just as many members as you can get.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Dude, I mean, it's crazy to me. So this is something that I try to get out there to people is working in this industry. Everybody in the industry thinks that you need to be a quote unquote cannabis person. You need to come from the legacy market. And, you know, I've purchased from the legacy market. I never worked in it because it wasn't my thing. Like, and I'll be the first person to say I'm not brave enough to do something like that. I wasn't going to take the legal risk, but there are so many people out there that are passionate for this plant that do normal jobs, doctors, lawyers, salespeople, engineers, and all that. And to be able to see people take their talent of whatever they've been doing for years and bring it to this industry and just make this a true industry is crazy. And that's what I mean by saying that. You know, I'm sure, how long did you start this business?
4 years.
4 years ago. No, the first
business. The legal plan?
Yeah.
11 years ago.
So 11 years ago. Did you ever think that you'd be in the same building? You'd have a cannabis-based business too?
You know, I did.
Really?
I did. Yeah, I've been so passionate about
it. In case you're going to John DeLorean it, in case things got rough, you're going to fund the business that way?
You know what it is? I think, you know, look, 11 years, it's been a consistent 11 years, right? Where in the past, I never had that kind of consistency. So I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I could take my passion and kind of explore it, right? The cannabis has always been a passion of mine. I've always been a big advocate. It's sort of like my branding. Anybody that knows me, it's like, hey, we smoking. And I'm just, you know, I function. I'm fantastic. I love being creative when I smoke and coming up with these ideas. And I think that just I've always known, I never wanted to be a dispensary because I know the regulations behind that. And it's almost like saying, I don't want to be a PO. I don't want to have a POS.
People don't realize that as cool as a dispensary is, because it's a weed store, it's still a retail business.
Yes.
And retail sucks.
It absolutely
sucks. I started my career in retail. I was a Sears assistant store manager for a year and a half, and I was miserable.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, you know, that's kind of that route. And so that just wasn't.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do something on the outskirts, like an ancillary. I've always been sort of the ancillary product kind of a guy. And the distribution has always been, you know, having the sales background, the distribution of a product is the most important thing. You can have the best product in the world, but if you can't get it out, no one's selling it. If no one's buying it, then it's kind of pointless. So, I mean, that's why I attached the 2-tiered payout to it, thinking like, okay, well, who's not going to at least, if you sign up 4 or 5 people, now your membership is paid for and you're getting free reward points for all of those purchases.
No, it sounds like a great program, man. I'm excited to see it hit the market. I'm telling you, specifically down here in Florida. I don't know enough about the other states right now, but I can tell you, looking at the model here in Florida, it should flourish.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it does. And what I'd love to emphasize too,
Pennsylvania would be another good market too.
I think Michigan and Boston is going to be
very cool.
We're kind of exploring all of those markets and in talks with a lot of dispensaries in those markets as well.
Nice. Yeah, man. It's funny. I think back to when they legalized cannabis in Florida, and I thought, and I knew I wanted to get into it, but for some reason, for me, it was always the dream of being part of a cultivation, and not the cultivator myself.
Right.
And I always say that because I don't know. You said you've been in sales for a long time. I've been in sales for a long time, and everything that we do is it's a hustle. It's calling this person, following up with that, falling down leads, and just shaking enough trees that things fall out. So the idea to me to switch gears and be a farmer, right, and have a set. And don't get me wrong, I know it's not easy work. It's hard work. It's manual labor, but it's very task based. And certain tasks could change, and that would change up your day. But it's not just what you got to go in and do. It's not just who do I have to fucking call to hit quota this month, right?
Why doesn't he call me back?
And this guy's been saying yes for 3 weeks, and all of a sudden he goes to me. So the idea, and that's always just been so romantic to me, to be part of the plant that way. which ultimately ended up cool because I'm with a cannabis brand now, and we're one step away removed from the cultivation,
Right.
but I get to be part of that. And honestly, I think I get to be part of it in the way that I would like to do it, where I get to show up and help out, and everyone's excited because I'm not the guy who usually does that.
Right.
And then it's like playing with somebody else's kids, as soon as they start crying, you get to hand it back to them. But I feel like a lot of us in this industry, once it became legal, I guess that was it would be great to be able to do this.
There's
right.
A lot of different opportunities, for sure that come up in the ancillary, just the surrounding parts. Without a doubt.
I imagine your employees are mostly a lot of engineers involved and
developers,
exactly.
And business development. That's, the same as we're developing, we're trying to onboard the dispensaries and get them, get them excited about it as well.
Very cool. So you guys are pre-launch right now, right?
Yeah.
When do you think you'll be in market?
I believe that I know there are certain markets. We have Florida, Michigan, and Boston, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. And we're looking to do a multi-state launch, because I think that's a big part of the program, right? Is for dispensaries. So the big catch for the dispensaries, and what I try to kind of just drive home all the time is the concept of market share. I mean, especially down here in Florida, right? There's 21, 19 it is, licensed dispensaries in Florida. And then they're coming out with a bunch more. This is sort of a market share, right, Grant? Mm-hmm. In terms of the dispensary that signs up the consumer first is going to be the one that pretty much owns them for the duration of their membership. So anywhere they shop, they're going to make money on them. And I think the opportunity is right, but as more competition is more and more saturation, market share is going to be a big topic for dispensaries. So I definitely think it's important for them to look at it from this perspective, in that, right? Because there is no loyalty here. It's on product like we've talked about earlier. And I think dispensaries are realizing. At least marketing companies for dispensaries are realizing.
No, I would 100% agree with you. Dispensary are realizing that. And I think even the deep brands in California, even brand loyalty out there is extremely hard, because you go into a dispensary, and I think it's just the way that it works. If I go into a dispensary, and I'm a huge Heisman fan, and I want to get my product first, but outside of that, I have the brands that I like, Cannabiotics, CVX being one of them. And if I go in there and they don't have that, the chances of me leaving and going somewhere else to find it versus just buying something else that they have there are very, very slim. It's not going to be too much that I'm probably going to go elsewhere and get this product, right? So I'm going to buy what's there. Maybe I'll buy less of it, and at a later point in time, I'll go and try to find what I want. But I'm also a pretty brand loyal guy across the board anywhere else. So I 100% agree with you that brand loyalty, and as someone who is part of a brand, it is our absolute focus is to figure out how we create loyalty amongst the audience, right? And we figured it out to a point in the sense of building a community around sports, but a lot of cannabis brands don't have that niche. Right. So I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the dispensaries are starting to recognize that and need to recognize that, that I don't want to say they have the power, but they do have a lot of the power just by being that interface with the consumer. Very cool, man. So let's look towards the future here. What are you excited about? What do you have coming out besides just launching into these markets? What can we expect from the future of your business, seeing you around C-Lab?
I think a lot of it is going to be the future enhancements. I mean, obviously we want to roll out in a bunch of states and get that proof of concept, and kind of lock that in so that we can expand from there. What we're dealing with now is you have companies in Florida based in that have stores in other states. So going through the logistics of who's going to start in what state is what we're going through now. Getting that rolling. I think future enhancements is going to be a big thing with the e-wallet. The possibility and what we're looking to integrate in the future is going to be the ability to pay bills through your e-wallet, to actually use that as a bank account.
Okay.
So, bill paying, even on the dispensary side, using that as bill paying. In the future, we're also going to be looking to have the dispensaries act as a cash loader as well. Right now, I think it's Greenpoint, but we have the cash loading capabilities, but not in the dispensary just yet.
Okay.
So I think, as the product comes out and as we add our future enhancements, you're going to see a much broader product and a lot more well used. I mean, we want to get to the point. How great would it be like if I want to go to Taco Bell and I want to redeem my reward points and get, you know, a 12 pack of chalupas.
That'd be great.
You know, and use my reward points because I have enough. Or if I owe you money, I could say, here, let me transfer you some reward points, and then you get them, and now we're even.
It's so funny you say that. When I worked with Spring Bake, we would send text messages for brands, and I always joked, I'm like, we should get fucking Taco Bell or somebody to do this.
Right.
Like, imagine Taco Bell sending a, you know, to Mr. Nice Guy's loyalty list, like, you know, buy a pre-roll, get a chalupa for $1, something like that.
I mean, you know, it works, and I can see that type of business development taking place in the future.
Very, very cool, man. Well, where can people find you?
Cushrewards.com.
Cushrewards.com. Anything else that you want to promote before we get out of here?
No, I just would love, you know, to see this work. And I feel that it's a great benefit for the consumers. It's a great benefit for the dispensaries. And I'm just looking forward to getting to market.
Very cool, man. Well, Angelo, thank you very much for sitting down with us. And thank you to everybody at home for watching. Like I said, we're going to try to get one of these to you a week. This has been our second episode since we've been back. So I hope you're keeping track. We'll keep going, and we'll see you next time.